Okay, I'm starting to get there. Got both the fender liners out, the back bumper cover off, tail lights off. So everything is exposed on this quarter panel that we've got to remove, all the spot welds. I guess I'm going to take this door latch off here because I'm going to cut kind of right through the middle of where that goes, and that'll be in my way when I get my cutting wheel in there. So I have to get this trim off, and then I'll start drilling out spot welds. I might grind them out because I want to make sure that I don't drill all the way through that bottom layer of metal. Sometimes when you drill out spot welds, you go crazy and you start pushing too hard, and then all of a sudden you go through the second one, and then when you get ready to weld that back on, there's nothing to weld to. So I might grind it out. I've got a fast, thin grinding wheel that'll probably work good. I'll kind of show you what I'm doing here. So I told you I was using those grinders wheels to grind through the spot welds, and what it does, it just allows you to get that top layer ground through so that you still got a nice clean solid piece underneath that instead of drilling through it. And I mean, I just tap that with that chisel and they just pop right off. So they're loose right now. As soon as I get these off, so I'm going to go on through and I'll show you, like when I start grinding in there, you just grind until you see the outside edge of that spot weld start appearing in your shiny new metal, and then when you see that outline all the way around, you're done grinding through and you can just pop it off with the chisel. Okay, so all those spot welds are off and free there. That piece is free. This is all ready to be, no more grinding. What I got left to do is cut. So I'm gonna get a Torx bit, take this latch off. You can see I already got that piece off, the trim. So next step would be to make this cut. I'll put a piece of tape across here to serve as a guideline, and then I'll make the cut. Then I'll go get the heat gun, and I'll try to heat this since we know where everything is now. I'm gonna try to heat it in those spots. I'll look on the back side of the other one and you can see exactly where the gunk is. I know there's a bunch right up in this area here, and I think there was a little piece right here which it's not gonna bother us. Seems like there was another piece, but I'll look on the back of the old one, or the donor one. So one more cut and some heat, and hopefully we'll have this thing off of here, and then we gotta, or at least loose everywhere except for up here. And then we might make a cut right through here, leave this piece, and then try to figure out how to get it out with heat. Okay, so I've got everything cut, the line cut across there, got this little chunk cut out here for us to work on after we get the piece off. So now I'm going to get the heat gun, I'm going to heat all the way up through this and then all that really good, and I think there's a blob right behind here. So I'll try to heat those really good with the heat gun. Hopefully I can do it without having to get the torch. Well, that was sure a lot easier than the one that we did on the big chunk. I guess because we knew exactly where all the adhesive was and knew exactly where to put the heat. So you just heated it up with the heat gun, didn't have to burn anything, it just popped right off. So now if we can do that same thing with this piece up here, which I think we can. There's a weld right here, need to get ground out. Actually, I've got to drill that out because this piece stays. If you have to save the piece on top, then you got to drill it. You can't grind it. So I'll drill that out, and then I'll start heating up that other and see if it pops off. Well, I better knock on some wood because this is going smooth. Drilled that out, heated it up, didn't take probably, I don't know, 20 seconds to heat it up. It let loose and popped right off. So now, looks like to me everything is ready. I got to clean up. I really don't have to clean much of these up at all because I ground them out. I have to grind or sand kind of this down, get the paint off of it, ready for paint or ready for weld. And I'll have to figure out, I won't be able to put the other one on there today because I'm going to have to figure out what kind of adhesive I need to put on here to glue this other piece back on. But other than that, that went pretty smooth. It took way less time than I thought it was going to. Now if we can just get the other one on there and get it welded on nice and smooth without any kind of weird areas where they butt together there with the butt weld, and we'll be on the way. Well, I laid our donor piece up on top of the car that I've already cut off. I mean, it's just laying there. So I want to try to mark some areas like, I don't know, an inch or two below where I really need to cut it, like there and there maybe. And I'll put a piece of tape across there and just cut that off so I can get that lower part out of the way so it doesn't get in the way of trying to measure. Okay, I've got this thing marked for the actual real line to weld to, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off, take it over there and clamp it in and see how it's looking. We need probably a little less than 1/8 of an inch space between the two welds for a good butt weld. So there it is. Hopefully that's the final piece. I'm gonna go ready to go dry test it, fit it. It's hard to believe out of that big giant $350 chunk that I could barely fit in the escape, that's all we needed out of it. But I understand now why they just cut it out in a big chunk like that, because that was a nightmare to get that thing off. So let's see how it fits. So I got this quarter panel about where I want it, real close. I still have to trim a little bit down there where the butt weld's gonna be. Before I get carried away, I'm gonna go ahead and get this door off, which means I gotta take these power lines off right there and route them back through this piece right here, and then there's just 4 bolts that hold the door on. So then I'll get that off and I'll go get the door. Then I'm getting ready to take the mic and bolt it on there and just make sure that this line right here, I want to make sure that this flat surface right here and the line on the door match perfectly, kind of like this right here, because that's, I mean, you can really see that. I mean, it's a big part of the car. When you go up to open the door, you're going to see that if it's off at all. So I want that to be perfect. I got the door mocked up here, just dry fitted to make sure the gaps are going to be okay, and the gap over there by the quarter panel is great. So I'm going to clamp that quarter panel down where it can't move, and then grind out my little space a little bit more on the butt weld, and then I don't know if I'll get it done tonight or not, but then it'll be ready to weld on there. I've got a little issue up here. The line is not meeting, but I'm sure I can play with that with the hinge, and even if I had to put a washer behind it or something, I need to pull this door out a little bit, maybe a 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch or something. But looks pretty good over here. Yeah, I got this quarter panel ready for put the adhesive on it. I went through and reprimed with the self-etching primer, any of the exposed metal, except for what's going to get the adhesive. So that little strip right through there is going to get the adhesive on it. And then this strip right here. And then I will put it on this. I'm going to keep that piece in there because it's molded well, and I'm going to use some real thin bonding adhesive to go on there so it won't move the gap any. And I'll have some right here. Stick it on there and clamp it, let it dry overnight, and then tomorrow morning I'll weld it.
Next week on Rebuild It.
Alright, so I've got a lot of it welded and ground down. And I can see that I've got a low spot here where the curve doesn't quite fit right there. So
Also, make sure to check us out on Instagram, where we post behind the scenes photos, sneak peeks, giveaways, and information on future videos. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in and watching this week's episode of Rebuild It. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any awesome content. Have a good one.